Happiness may not mean what we think it means. These thoughts come from my own experience, but I encourage you to actively think of yours as I go through this. My philosophical friends, what comes to mind when I say the word happiness? I imagine that if you're like most of your human companions, it's something along the lines of happiness has to do with feeling good in some way, feeling good in some way. Well, I took a look at the happiest moments of my life, and I invite you to do the same. For me, it was things like vacations with family and friends, road trips, moments when I created special art, ping pong and soccer matches, getting through tough situations alongside friends. But how did I feel during those times? On vacations with family and friends and on road trips, I was often stressed out. Even when I was like happy, by no means what did I feel a level of pleasure that would suggest that I was forming experiences that would be the best experiences of my life. I did not know that. For moments of creating special art and for the sports moments like ping pong and soccer, I was so focused in those moments and I was so in the moment that I had no ability to even gauge my own happiness. I didn't even recognize how happy I was. And for getting through tough situations alongside friends, I was actually completely stressed out during those times and wishing it would just be over. Things like getting stranded on the side of the road with a flat tire and no one being able to help me and being so far away from home and freaking out. Shit like that. Really not enjoying the moment at all. And yet, these things turned out to be what I would call the happiest moments of my life. It's crazy. So in these happiest times that I've ever experienced, I was either unaware I was happy, feeling happy, but not nearly to the level I actually ended up being as I look back, or literally feeling unhappy. And in none of them was I celebrating or reaching an endpoint. Like none of the things on my list are like when I won the game or when I got this, or none of them were. They were all experiences. And certainly none of them felt as good as an orgasm or taking MDMA, which are moments that like actually feel like the strongest sensation of happiness, of elation in real time. It's the experiences themselves that are the most amazing moments. Memories of winning soccer games are not nearly as special to me as the memory of like having 5 minutes left in the game and being tied 1-1 and just giving everything I had alongside my team. That's a way better memory. I don't even remember if I won or not in some of these memories. The memory of finally getting home after needing to figure out the flat tire situation, that memory of finally arriving home and being like, it's all figured out. That's not nearly as impactful of a memory, of as happy of a memory to me. It doesn't hold the same place in my heart as being in the middle of the problem. It's crazy. The memory of finally uploading a music video to YouTube that I worked 2 months on day and night pales in comparison to the memory of making the music video, which was a struggle. And I imagine like a hunter would look back on being camped out in the woods and like quietly sneaking around with like trying to find the animal. I would imagine that hunter would look back on that with more fondness than the moment they actually like caught the deer. It's as though happiness is rewarding, not rewarded. It's the process of planting the seeds, not reaping the harvest. It's easy to say. We all know, enjoy the process, blah, blah, blah. But it's real. Once the physical reward takes place, we experience pleasure, maybe, for a fleeting period at best. Maybe our brains trick us into thinking about the end goals because our brains know how much our souls will enjoy the actions that take place on the journey. So it's like, we're going to make the person, like my brain is saying, like, I'm going to make him focus on the end goal of blah, 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 because low key, he's going to enjoy the process of getting there so much. Let's do this for him. Like, thank you, brain. Thank you. And what this might mean is that we're in the happiness more often than we think. Maybe even right now, we might look back at right now, where we're at in our lives, or where we're at tomorrow afternoon, as like some of the happiest times of our life, and not know that we're in them. The whole thing seems to really come down to definitions. Things that we've identified meaning to, like happiness, joy, pleasure. We use this word happiness and we equate it to this like mysterious, elusive feeling that we call being happy. But like, guys, what if happiness is fundamentally not what we think it is? Like, that's a trip. What if it's actually a state that doesn't always feel happy? And there's another type of happiness that I didn't put on the list, and I wonder if you guys have had this too. On several occasions, numerous occasions actually, I've been like in nature and I've felt overwhelmed by the magic of being alive. Like I'll see a river or a mountain or the vastness of space, and I'll feel my own tininess, and it's incredible. Or I've been around like a baby or an animal and I felt connected to this like gift of pure consciousness. Or I've felt in a particular moment that I'm truly loved by someone who I also love. And this, to me, it needs a different name. It's a particular type of happiness. One that seems to come with gratitude and a lack of wanting and peace and oftentimes awe. It's a sense that, like, no matter what, everything has always been and will always be okay forever, and that nothing's a big deal, you know? And I think I want to call this joy. A line in the sand between joy and everything else. So what do we do with this information? And I honestly don't really know. My best idea would be to take note of the things that are part of our happiest experiences. Things like, you know, from my list at least, there were things like extreme focus, right? Like being in that flow state of creating art, and when it's all over, being like, I don't even know how that was 9 hours. That felt like 16 minutes, and holy shit, I made this, right? Like that feeling, that extreme focus. And the involvement of companions seems to be a part of a lot of the things on my list. The involvement of human companions. Also, activities that required, or at least allowed me to come up with strategies to solve problems. These were big parts of all my happiest memories. So if we know these things, whatever yours are, and I imagine they're similar. I'm a human, and you are too. I'd imagine they're pretty similar. At least these things that are in your happy memories, these elements of them. And if we know them, maybe we can start noticing when they're happening and take pause in those moments and just say, like, this is happiness. And maybe after doing that for enough time, we could start reconditioning and like rewiring our understanding of what happiness is. That it's not necessarily a feeling. It's an act, I think. And then we could actually start feeling pleasure in these moments as a result, right? Wouldn't that be amazing if we could start to, like, in a moment where I'm struggling through something and I'm alongside of friends struggling. If I can take pause in that moment from now on and go, hey man, you realize that struggle, solving problems, and being alongside friends is like the stuff that makes up your happiest memories. Just so you know, you might be really happy right now in this moment. If we could start doing that, maybe we could condition ourselves to actually feel pleasure in those moments. It's possible, I don't know. Or maybe the point is just to redefine everything in our minds. For me, that would be pleasure. Viscerally good feelings that come from some kind of hormonal activity in my brain. Joy. The sensation of oneness, of flow, of connectedness, of love, of peace, of everything making sense even when we don't understand it. And happiness. Just a word. Not even a feeling. A word that describes something. It's a symbolic combination of 9 letters that is used to describe a variety of things. The pursuit of challenge, bliss, fond memories, struggling, celebrating amongst others, being proud of ourselves, seeing our impact on the outside world, and like 50,000 other things, many of which don't even feel good in real time. So, like, there it is for today, I guess, man. The journey is the destination. The destination is being on a journey. That's where this all goes. It all ends with being on a journey. Love you guys.